product of the Nerd Element.
Hi everyone, welcome back to 324B21, the Orphan Black Podcast. I am one of your hosts, Kimberly, and with me as always is Sean, Fangirl S.
Hello, hello.
And today we have a very special guest. She follows us on Twitter and interacts, and we love her for it. Edith!
Hey, hello, Sean. Hello, Kim.
Hello, welcome.
Hey, thanks for coming on!
Thank you for having me. I'm nervous.
Don't be nervous. We literally just sit here and talk about the show, so nothing to be nervous about. And
Awesome.
today we're going to talk about the newest episode of Orphan Black. It is entitled E's for Idle Millionaires.
Yes.
Ugh, there's implications with that.
Yeah.
All right. So let's just jump into it. We start off with Cosima, and she's drilling a hole in that tooth that Charlotte found in the woods that belongs to... We do not know his name yet, so I'm going to still call him Beast Boy. Please, nobody take offense to it.
Beast Boy.
And she's, like, running some tests on it, basically, to see... I think she's looking for DNA samples, but that's what she's doing. And there is also a man who is going out into the woods. Like, why would you... I don't know if you knew, and everybody's saying there's a bear out, and nobody believes that there's a bear out, but there's something, like, literally attacking things out in the woods. Why would you go out into the woods? But this man goes out into the woods to get his hidden cigarettes.
Well, you know...
Addiction.
Yep, that's exactly what I was going to say.
Yeah.
Is it worth your life?
And
Hello.
you're not...
Yes. She said hello.
I guess you can't smoke in the village because they're supposed to be very healthy and everything, so...
And healing people.
Yeah.
There's people
Yeah.
there that have cancer. Yeah, I completely
Yeah.
understand that.
Come on, it already causes cancer, and he's like, yep, gonna roll the dice, no matter.
Right? She's like, I'm in a
Yeah.
place that can cure me anyway. I don't know. I just, I don't know. I wouldn't do it. I'd be like that. If there's anything to motivate me to, like, stop an addiction, it would be a crazy thing
A
out in
bear.
the woods. Like,
A bear?
it could claw me to death or bite me. So, anyway... So this is like this weird montage of like Cosima and this guy like back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. So we see Cosima, and she is looking at like those results, but she's also having flashbacks of.
Oh, yes, flashbacks. Sorry, I'm
She's
Delphine fan here. Sorry, I have, you know.
Yeah, well, the last episode we didn't have Delphine at all, so this episode was chock full of Delphine, and I know a lot of people out there were waiting for that.
Yes, I definitely was one of them.
Yeah. Okay, so she's having flashbacks of like first the flashbacks were of everything that she saw related to this person that is out in the woods, like the room, the X-rays, all the blood everywhere, and like she's just kind of like I think it's too much to process, and she's kind of freaking out about it.
Yeah.
But it goes back and forth between her running these tests for looking at DNA results and this man out in the woods, like he's following. Were they like half-eaten eggs? Is that what it was? It was the eggs like first time. And
Yeah, I think Mud takes food to Beast Boy, and maybe he loves eggs. I don't know.
yeah, so he's following these eggs on the ground, and then he's like attacked, but we don't see what attacks him. We just see him like go ah.
Wait, Kim, how was that again?
You know what my favorite one is that token sound that they use in like every movie, and especially with stormtroopers when they fall, like that token yell. It cracks me up. I love it. It cracks me up. It's almost as good as Goofy, like when he falls. I used to live for that too. So,
Yeah, I really like the editing between these two. The villager who's sort of discovering, you know, what's out there, the food and this and that, and he's scared. And also them showing Cosima doing all the lab work and discovering her own, you know, her own stuff. I thought that was interesting, the way they did that. The editing was good.
it is, and they typically do that at least once episode, but it's normally at the end. So I was like, that was kind of weird because they opened up with it, and I don't remember them doing that recently anyway. So we're back to Cosima, and she's flashing back to when she finds out that she's intellectual property, which is gosh.
I remember that was pretty heartbreaking for all of us.
Yeah.
It was, gosh, and she's like owned by Dyad, and she has a serial number, and she, so she's like flashing back to this, and everything that she went through, because it's kind of relating to what she was seeing with this guy's, and she flashes back to Delphine being there for her, hooking up with Delphine.
Yay.
Yeah, she's like, and this is a dream she's having. We find out because she wakes up. She's startled awake when there's a commotion outside. So.
No, but I'm sure it happened. I mean,
oh no, it happened.
So, right?
Yeah, it definitely happened, but it wasn't a flashback. It was a dream she was having.
I always wondered what happened between the final moments of season 1 between Cosima and Delphine when she tells her that she's sick, or Cosima tells Delphine that she's sick.
Mm-hmm.
And then, because in the beginning of season 2, we just see them in bed, and Cosima and Delphine is taking blood samples. So I always wondered, like, what happened in between?
Right.
And so
right.
This is the explanation. This is what happened, and I love that. I thought that was pretty cool, the way they did that.
They do always come back to things like that.
Yeah.
Like, and it's weird because, like, until you said that, I didn't remember how it ended. Like, and then how it began again. I always thought to myself, like, I remember looking at the flashback scene, I could tell that was recently shot, because I think Delphine's like skinnier than she was in the beginning, I think. And her face looks different. Yeah.
Yeah.
They just filmed this, so we didn't see this before, but I remember the scene. Like, I remember them being on the couch, so I was like, there was a gap here. And it wasn't until you said that I remembered how it started and ended, and they did fill in this gap, which they do sometimes, and I appreciate that.
Yeah.
On occasion, they do.
On occasion. Like,
I really like that.
That whole Beth thing, like, that was amazing. I like when they do stuff like that. All right. So she's like startled awake out of her dream by commotion that is going on outside. Can
I just say one more thing? This previous scene, that I'm really glad that they show Delphine apologize to Cosima when Cosima tells her, you were paid to, or am I getting ahead of myself? No, right? That's when Cosima says you were paid to lie to me. I really like that they show Delphine really, I don't know, she's regretful, and she apologizes, and then she promised to always take care of her. So I really like that, because I know that there's this whole thing whether can we trust Delphine, can we not trust her, and all the things she's done. So I appreciate that moment, if anything, for the Delphine fans, like me.
I feel like, though, she has part of me, like, feels like she has apologized for this. Like, we've seen her apologize before.
Well, yeah, that's true, but
I don't know.
But this
I'm
means
still
she's
questioning
apologizing from the beginning. No, Sean, no! How could you? But I'm glad that they went back and they're showing that she apologized from the beginning. Right from
the go.
From that moment, yeah. I appreciate that. Sorry about that.
No, you're fine. That's why you're here. And I'm the one who's always like doubting everyone. So.
Well, yeah, but they put it so you would doubt her in the beginning.
Yeah,
I think a lot of people doubted her in the beginning because she's a monitor, and that has like negative connotations. Like, people doubted Donnie too because he was a monitor.
Right.
So,
but then with both of them, I don't think. I mean, yes, their decisions might be questionable, especially Delphine's, but they do, like, Donnie loves Allison and Delphine really loves Cosima, so, I don't think we can doubt that.
Yeah, I mean, but we didn't know that right off the bat. Like, especially in the beginning, we saw Delphine was set up to hit on Cosima because he wanted her as a monitor, whereas Donnie was approached in college after they were dating to do it. So.
Yeah, Donnie didn't even know what was going on. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's true.
But I think they just did that on purpose. They wanted you to doubt or not know exactly what was going on. But I think she's proven herself over and over again. Delphine has, so. Yeah,
and I like the fact that she encouraged. I mean, she's basically telling Cosima, well, yeah, they might own you physically, but not the rest of what makes you you. And she says her integrity, your intellect, your humor. And I mean, because she's sort of encouraging her to fight, not give up. And I really love that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's because I guess it would be daunting, wouldn't it? You know, to realize you were just like created. Well, everybody's created, but like you were just like a test, right? And that you're now property because we've developed you, so you are not an individual but a product, and that has to be daunting. So
that's hard to process.
That's why it's illegal. In real life.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was definitely good that she keeps reminding her of this, and don't let them take that from you. So.
Yeah, and I guess that's the scene that Evelyn Brochu said. They asked her, I think, what was her favorite scene, and she said that there was a scene where the camera goes sort of around Cosima Delphine, and I think it was that one.
Oh, that's right. She said that. Like, did she say that at Pele Fest? That sounds so familiar.
Yes, she did. Not on the panel, but in one of the interviews outside.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She did say one of these. That was okay. Maybe it was.
It was a beautiful scene. I loved it.
That probably is a scene. Well, we won't know until we like see all of them to see if there's another scene where the camera's panning around. But that probably is.
No,
that
but
scene.
I think she said episode 5. I think.
She?
I think she specified episode 5.
Well, it was definitely. I can see that why it would be her favorite scene because that kind of sets like her tone, like Cosima's tone. So.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so. Cosima goes outside and she hears that someone was attacked, but he's gonna be okay. And no one in that village believes that it's a bear. I mean, they should just stop saying it. We don't believe it's a bear. Just stop saying it's a bear. And Cosima's looking around and sees Aisha just skipping along to go see her mom, and she's like intrigued because this little girl is supposed to be sick, and it seems like she's feeling better, so she goes and asks her if she can examine her. And the little girl says, I think she said the messenger said you weren't supposed to, so is that Old Man Winter? Is he the messenger?
Yes, he is. That's the guy.
So you finally got a name for him, kind of.
Yeah. Because he caught Cosima examining her.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it was the previous episode or the one before, and he asked her, he said, what are you doing? And I think Cosima said something like, we're doing school or something like that, but she was examining her.
The messenger. I like Old Man Winter better, guys.
Yeah, that's funnier.
I might still call him that, but anyway, so her tumor is getting smaller, at least that's what Cosima says when she's examining her.
Yeah.
And the girl says that they gave her like magic water through a straw, which I'm assuming was the IV because she pointed to her hand. Like they would have put an IV in there, and that he can cure. And that her mom says that he can cure cancer, he can cure death. And Cosima borrows her log. She has a little log. She writes down how she feels each day, and with little smiley stickers or frowny stickers for her mood.
Okay. That's what I'm going to do from now on.
Do it in stickers?
Yeah.
I'm going to have to find you a pack of stickers for Christmas. There's just like emoji, like faces.
It'd probably be safer than half the stuff that comes out of my mouth, so. Just some frowny face.
I think it's called a progress log.
Mm-hmm.
And it has what procedures they did, and then whatever Aisha felt. Like I think she on the first one it said I threw up, and then there's a sad face, something like that. Yeah.
It's like, oh.
Yeah, and Aisha's so cute. I really like her and Charlotte together, like exploring that. I really like that.
She's a cute little girl.
Yeah.
So Cosima borrows that log, and they move over to what Sarah's doing, and Sarah comes down the stairs and Mrs. S's house, and Kira's drawing on the wall, and I'm like, dude, that was like smart. Like they like have that little area sectioned off so she can draw on the wall, because I know kids do that randomly. I think I might have done that. at some point. Bless my parents. So she's drawing on the wall, and Mrs. S is going to visit Scott and Hellwizard. Did they ever really say what his real name is? I'm sure they did.
Hellwizard?
I just remember Hellwizard.
I know they've said it, and none of us can remember it.
Because
so I feel really
Hellwizard.
bad about that.
Because Hellwizard is what stands out in your mind. Like,
I don't think they ever said his name.
well, there we go. Now I feel better.
Yeah, I think when Scott introduced him, I think he said Hellwizard. I think so. Because he used to work at the Dyad.
Hellwizard. I like that better. Anyway, so she's gonna go visit them and find out kind of like what they know and give them information. And they wish that they could talk to Cosima. Kira does not appreciate them whispering and says she could just go upstairs. So they kind of explain to her that they're trying to figure out what the Neos did in the past so they can figure out what they're going to do in the future.
Yeah. I have in my notes, Kira is still emo.
Is still emo. Yeah. She makes a good emo face, doesn't she?
Yeah. Yes, she does. She's just like, I'm still here, or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, she's turning into a bratty little teen, is what it is.
Yeah.
She is.
But she feels too much.
She does.
And she doesn't know what to do with it, I think.
And there's nobody there to teach her what to do with that, because look at, like, Mrs. S, like, stabs corkscrews in the back of hands, like Sarah avoids stuff.
Exactly.
Helena shot clones for a certain amount of time, and, like, Allison is repressed. So literally, Cosima's probably the best person to help her, but she's away.
Yeah.
And sick.
Agreed. Which is why I'm Team Kim. I remember the last podcast.
You hear that? Yep.
No, I'm sorry. I think Skype just cut out. What was that?
Wow. I love it. All right. Okay, so back to...
It was nice to see them at home, though. Like a little sort of slice of normal type something.
Kind of like...
Something like that.
But yes, I actually like this episode for Sarah and Kira, but I'll talk about that a little later on. But you're definitely right. It was nice to see them at home. And with Mrs. S on and off, too.
Mm-hmm.
So we're back to the woods, and there's a hunting party forming to kind of deal with this beast guy. And Mud objects because she's like, look, he's not his fault. He shouldn't be hurt. And they're just kind of like blowing her off because they say he needs to be dealt with. So, and Old Man Winter is telling people that they need to go into their house until the bear is dealt with. And Cosima's just kind of watching all this stuff happen, and then when she sees Mud walk out, she inquires about, what's happening, and Mud says, look, he wasn't always like this, and that she let him out because she couldn't see him being captive anymore, and these tests being run on him, so Mud's the only one with a conscience, apparently.
But we still don't have the relationship there, right? I didn't miss that, did I?
No.
Okay.
I don't think they've mentioned anything like that.
And he looks like he's definitely older than her. But I don't know how old Mud is, because Mud could be 50 years old and just look like
That's
that.
true. I thought that from the moment she was introduced. I was like, she's a little creepy. She's like one of those little kids that never age or something.
Yeah. She is, and she weirds me out, like, every time she changes her hair. Because, like, when we saw her in pigtails, like, at first, I'm like, oh, you're, like, a 14-year-old or whatever. And then she had her hat off, and I got all kinds of, like, thrown. I was like, what is this?
Yeah.
And then her hair was down this time with a hat on, and I was like, how old are you?
Yeah, it's weird.
She has a very young face, though, so...
and I wonder if Mud, because whose name is Mud? So I wonder if that stands for something like MUD or MUDD. I've thought about that and I can't come up with anything. Modified something? I don't know.
I feel like you get the name Mud when you are, like, a traitor. Isn't it? Like, when they say your name is Mud? because
Yeah, that's if you've done something horrible, but I mean, it's possible.
Oh, and is it possible that because she let him out?
they call her Mud.
Oh,
They call her Mud?
Possible.
I mean,
In the
I don't know.
in the last episode, she's all like, "My name's Delilah" or something like that, and you're like,
I know,
"What? That doesn't make any sense. I'm calling you Mud."
I'm telling you are Mud now.
Sorry, we're used to Mud. Won't happen.
Yeah, that's weird.
Go ahead.
And I was gonna say, also one thing I've noticed, there are so many guns in that little village. It's scary. Too many guns, I think.
Yeah, you would think that because I'm assuming that there's not like real bears and creatures out on the island just because there's so much distance between that and like the other places that they were, and Sarah walked through the woods basically. So, and she was only attacked by this guy. So it's kind of weird that they have guns. It's like, what are they trying to do? Keep people safe from what? Just him? Is that it? Or
Yeah, that's why I questioned this place, because I remember when they introduced this place, there was Mud being all jolly and happy, saying, "Oh, everybody's fine here," and this and that, and there's a bunch of people with guns. Even where the entrance to PT Westmoreland's house, I think there was a guy with a big gun. So I was like, I don't know, this doesn't make sense. This is weird.
that's true.
Wait till you watch Handmaid's Tale.
Oh man. Yeah, I've heard some things and I've seen some pictures, and wow. I can't wait to watch it though. I like stuff like that.
Oh, okay, but before Mud walks off, she tells Cosima there's a lot of big VIPs at the house, so to keep her head down, and that Rachel's already there. And so Mud runs off, and Cosima looks back at the house, and she sees Delphine going up the stairs, and she tries to go after her, but she's stopped by this guy with a big gun, and says, "You need to go back to your yurt." He didn't say yurt, but that's what he meant.
Does that mean that Delphine is considered a VIP?
I guess so.
Finally.
Well, they shipped her off once, so maybe that's why she has science information.
I feel like she always has been, because
She always has been. Yes. Say it.
Well, what made you think that nobody considered her a VIP? Because she was in charge of Dyad.
Some comments, they're like, what? She's not important. Let her die.
You know what? There was another tweet that said that, and like they were getting irritated, and I've never seen that on Twitter. Like I might just be oblivious, but I only pay attention to the people that I follow, and so I've never seen like.
Me too, but I guess sometimes it's retweeted or somehow it ends up on my timeline, and I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Really?
I've seen some people say, if I hear one more hateful thing, and I'm like, really?
Oh, there was a lot of it yesterday before the episode. Oh, wow. I'm like, what is going on here?
That's a shame.
Yeah, I know. Sorry, I keep interrupting you, but...
No, it's okay. That's how we do the podcast. And you have a lot of insightful information, so continue to speak up whenever you have, because I know you took notes and stuff, so. All right.
Oh, yeah. Yes, I did.
So PT is drinking again, and I'm like, dude, your liver, I don't know. I don't understand how he can drink like he does, because he's always drinking, and he's supposed to be 170 years old. With Rachel this time, and they're celebrating something, but you don't necessarily know what. And it was just a very quick scene that they come back to, but they go to Ira first, and he tells Susan that the villagers are restless about this man, and he's helping her get dressed, and I'm like, bleh. And
Ira and his mom.
I know. I just, oh god, I don't like any of it creeps me out. And she tests him to see if he's glitching, and he says, you only do that when you want to change the subject. And I'm like, oh no, because if she wants to change a subject, we would have seen her do it before, and she's never really done that. And I feel like they brought it up for a reason. And
Because they haven't done that in a while.
no, they haven't. And I'm like, this is foreshadowing. Like but I always feel like everything's foreshadowing in Orphan Black, and I'm like usually right 70% of the time, and then like the time I'm just completely wrong. But I was like, mental note. They go right back to PT, and he's injecting Rachel. Okay, I have a question here. So PT is injecting Rachel with something, and she tells him that 13 subjects are ready for their hormonal injections to be
1,300
carriers.
actually.
13. Did I say 1,300? What did I say?
You said 13.
Oh, did I? Oh, yeah, 1,300. Yeah. I literally wrote 1,300. That's crazy.
Yeah, the whole 1,300 thing is when I started tweeting going, wait, did they mean there's 1,300 clones out there?
No.
No.
Carriers. Like people who can carry children. But he says, this is where I have the question, because PT says that if anyone's deserving of Casima's inoculation, it's her more than any of them. And I'm like, what does he mean by that? If he means the cure, isn't it supposed to be injected in her uterus? Because that's where it was injected into Casima, but it was injected into her arm.
That's my question too.
Yeah, I didn't know what was going on. And I was just like, hashtag stupid Rachel anyway.
Stupid.
Yeah, maybe that's some, I don't know, a supplemental, I have no idea.
Is it?
I'm not going to pretend I know.
He said inoculation, not cure. Like,
yeah.
So I don't know. I didn't understand that part, and I'm sick and tired of Rachel's smug face. Like,
I know, but yeah, did you see her face? That look of like, when he said, no one deserves it more than you do, or something like that. And her face, it was like gratitude, but satisfaction and smugness. It's like she was saying, finally, someone gives me the credit and respect I deserve, or something. I don't know. It's stupid Rachel. You're right. You're right, Sean. You're right, Sean.
I can't stand it. And I seriously just cannot get past the fact that this is just all the same woman.
Yeah.
Because...
yeah, I know.
The character Rachel makes me want to put my hands around her throat.
Yep.
And then you have Allison, who makes me want to just give her a Xanax.
Yes.
And, you have Casima, who you're sad about, and then Sarah, who you're like, you just want to, like, shake her and be like, get a hold of yourself and take care of your kid. It's crazy that it's all the same person, especially when you have Rachel on screen and you're like, cat scratch your eyes out. That's what I feel.
Cat scratch your eyes out. That's awesome. I know, like, it is so crazy that she can make you feel all those things, and I hope they paid her well. She did a great job.
She get paid for, like, each person that she does? I mean, seriously, she should.
Probably not the first season, but when that contract came up, I bet her salary went up significantly. And I hope so, and with good reason, because she does a really good job, and I'm glad she got her Emmy.
And then now doesn't she have like producer credit or something like that?
She might. A lot of times that happens, that they start getting producer credit, or they direct part of it or so. I wouldn't be surprised. Well, PT wants Rachel to go talk to Susan, and he says you need to do that and smooth things over, so, to help with security. And then she goes, well, speaking of that, why don't we just kill this, mutant thing running around outside? And PT gets a little mad. And
he got feisty.
He did. He was like,
which started making me wonder why.
Guilt.
And because she's pointing out a mistake.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess guilt. There you go.
But he doesn't want to, I think it's more of a, I did what I needed to do and doesn't like to be questioned about it, but he feels guilty as well.
Yeah.
And he mentions that he's important to him, so that's why. He also knows about Leaky, and Rachel says, I forget that you know everything. And I'm like, well, if Rachel didn't tell him about Leaky, who did? Angie 2.0? Or, what? Who...
Well, he knows everything.
Yeah, but
I think he's got videos everywhere, surveillance.
Everybody eventually reports to him, I guess. Now, can I ask something? When Rachel says, I must remember that you know most things, now that's sort of Rachel being a bit submissive, which is something we haven't seen before. And my question is, do we think Rachel's just playing along also with PT, and maybe in the end she's gonna do something to him and just take the Iron Throne or whatever? I mean, or do we really believe that she believes him about him being 170 years old? I don't think so.
I think Rachel does believe him.
Yeah?
Because he's like, you know, you can take over all of this and you can be the next one. And Susan didn't want to give her that information, and so now it's like the rebel child kind of thing.
I don't know if Rachel believes him or not, but I do think that she craved acceptance and she's gotten it. So I think she's happy with what she has now. Whether she will backstab him later on or not remains to be seen, because she's that type of person, right? But right now she has everything that she wants. So I think she's just kind of playing along.
I have a feeling she's gonna. Well, I wanted her to die, but I don't know if that's gonna happen. I'm thinking she's gonna be the next PT Westmoreland. I don't know. Maybe it's just a thought.
It's probably her goal. I'm sure it's her goal. But whether she believes he's 170, I don't know. I think Susan knows the truth. For some reason,
yeah.
I think
absolutely.
She knows the
truth.
truth.
I think she does.
She won't let on about it anyway. So, yeah, he knows about Leaky, and I just feel like, yeah, he could have surveillance, but I feel like he probably sleeps like 13 hours a day. I don't know why. Like, I just don't feel like he's awake a lot because he's like old. And not that old people sleep.
Like he just knocks out in his chair or something?
I feel like it. I mean, like, we've seen him in a chair a lot, and I'm like, I feel like he just sleeps there, and then, like, somebody wakes him up for meals, and...
oh, you mean like the meal had that nobody ate? Yeah.
Right.
And for blood transfusions or whatever it is that he's getting?
Yeah, because he just, I don't know. But that's how I just feel like that for some reason. He says he does need answers, though, so he calls Delphine, who has been sitting out in the hallway with a samples briefcase. And she has samples from Sardinia, stool samples, and but she wants to go to Geneva, and Rachel says she needs patience. All will be revealed tonight. She's here for a reason. And PT says, you know, Cosima has kind of crossed the line with all the questions and the investigating she's doing, and Delphine asks them what they want to know. And we're like, no, Delphine, no.
But yeah, I know. I was like, oh, no. But
and the doubt
then again,
begins again.
Right. But then I always go back to she's going to do whatever she needs to do, or tell them whatever they want to know, or part of it, just so she can stay there and keep helping the leaders. That's what I think.
Well, yeah. I mean, you kind of have to think that, or you just get, like, destroyed, right? So it's like, I feel like she's proven herself enough that that we have to give her the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah, I think so. Agreed.
All right, so Rachel goes to talk to Susan, and Ira says that he's hidden all the knives. I'm like,
I like that.
He, like, I don't know. If I
love him throwing shade. Come on.
He should just choke her. Like, he should have just, like, I mean, he could have ended it right then and there. And everybody would have been happy.
Or at least smack her or something. I don't know.
Backhand.
Yeah.
So, you know, Ira walks off, and then Rachel apologizes to Susan, but Susan's like, no, you're not. I don't care. You're not sorry. But she does mention that Rachel needs her to be involved with the surrogate program, and that she is the only one that she can trust, since she wants her work to endure, her work being Rachel, which I found interesting. She says that she was wrong about Rachel, because Rachel does bring up the fact that you said a clone would never be in this position. So Rachel is butthurt. We can see this.
Yeah.
And it kind of plays into what we were saying before, that she wanted to prove her wrong and that she could be accepted and she could hold a high-ranking position, and that's what she craved. So that's what she has. And Susan says, you show great promise. I was wrong, and you did a good job securing Kira. And she says, for us, which was a mistake, because that's when Rachel went to hurt her. And
oh yeah, she was like pinching her or something? I'm like, what is she doing?
Right where that stab wound is, like she poked at it. So, and I'm like, this wench, she's so, I don't know, I hate her. Like, how are you gonna do that to your mom, let alone somebody who's like, I don't know, you don't do that.
Well, she stabbed her, so.
Yeah. And Susan says, whatever PT needs, and Rachel has that smug look on her face, and I'm like, I can't stand you. We're back to Delphine, and she goes to visit Cosima. And Cosima seems a bit standoffish. I will say that when Delphine walks in, she's like irritated, probably because Delphine didn't go there first, but she seems a bit irritated. And Delphine says, I hear your treatments are working. And she's like, yep, my treatments are working. And that she tells Delphine she saw her go up to the house, and Delphine was like, okay, well, I had to take the stool samples and deliver them. And she tells her that she was collecting these in Sardinia, but she doesn't know what they're trying to figure it out, because they make things difficult. Like, so she doesn't see all the pieces together, and that's probably done on purpose. And after she says all that, Cosima seems to lighten up a bit more. I mean, was it just me that noticed that, or?
No, she was. I think it's because of what you said, that she went to PT before she went to see Cosima, and she wants to know what's going on.
Because there's always the doubt.
Yeah, I'm like, don't start.
Come on.
Don't start the doubting. Right, and I think that's exactly what's happening. You can see it, and you're like, she's fighting it, though. She's trying to fight it.
Yeah.
She asks Cosima what she has figured out, and see, here we go. I'm sitting there, and I'm like, are you asking for you, or are you asking for PT, or... I'm like, stop it, Kim. She's asking so she can be helpful to Mrs. S. Like, stop it, Kim. Don't doubt. But I thought about it for a second. I have to be honest. I think about it for a second.
Yeah. But then Delphine's the one who told her to do that, too, so she is going to follow up.
Yeah. So, I meant, is Delphine asking her what she found for PT or for, like,
or just for her,
for
just to
helping
know?
to like help. That's what
I see.
I just questioned.
I feel like it's both.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Like, she'll try to figure out how much she can tell PT and how much she'll pass on in notes or whatever.
Yeah, because that's true. That's what she has to do, is figure out what she can say without getting Cosima into too much trouble, and without ruining everything. It's a complicated place to be for Delphine.
So Delphine does ask Cosima what she's figured out, and she tells her about Aisha and how they're treating her cancer with gene therapy. At least that's what she's figured out by looking at her logs and her DNA and whatnot. Not chemo, but gene therapy. So Delphine tells her that Leaky was also, like, looking at the same therapy in spiny mice, and I'm like, what? Spiny mice.
Yeah.
And so that was a great segue back to Kira and Sarah, and Kira's telling her all these facts about spiny mice, like how they share 90% of DNA with, like, humans, which is kind of, like, odd, because I thought I read somewhere, like, it wasn't monkeys that were the closest related to humans. It was, like, some other creature that you were like, what? Like, in terms of DNA. And it's so weird that, like, it could only be a couple things off in the DNA and it can be a completely different, like, creature.
Yeah.
I find that's, like, so weird. All right, but anyway, Sarah tells her that she saw Helena and that Helena misses her, and Kira's like, I know, and I'm like, ooh. And
you're like, how do you know?
Right? It's also Sarah like feels it too, and Kira knows that Sarah feels it. She says that, and she goes, "You saved me when I was on that island, didn't you?" And then Kira does that look, like she just kind of looks down when she doesn't want to talk or like admit to something, and Sarah says, "You know what? If you can teach me everything you know about that, I will give you the information that we find out." So Kira,
How smart do you think that is, though?
I know I thought about that, but I was like, I don't know. It's hard to tell because Kira is a child, and you think that she can't handle a lot of stuff. You don't want to put that on a child, but she's also 40 years old. Like, it's just weird. She's got this like mentality that's like older at times, and then you see the child coming out, and then you see the adult, and then you see the child, and it gives you whiplash. Let's see. So, Mrs. S and the boys are.
Oh, I love that. I really like that.
It's like a band.
Right?
Yeah.
They're going over this big board of what they know, and I'm like, what? It is I want one of those boards, by the way. It was like like see-through, and they were like writing on like different markers, and I'm like, flowchart.
Oh my gosh, and the best tweet for the whole thing, it's like when you're so extra, your whiteboard is totally clear.
You're right. That is awesome. They're like basically trying to figure out if PT is the same man from the 1800s that we see now. And they keep bringing this up, so I'm assuming he's not, because why did they keep
I
getting back
don't
to
think
it?
so.
You know what? On Twitter again, a lot of people are like, no, I just think he's the most recent Dread Pirate Roberts, which was pretty much what my whole theory was in the roundtable.
Mm-hmm.
That it's like somebody passing it on, or it's like a family thing, but it's not the same guy, which it seems so much more like the way they're pushing it, it's going that route than the fact
And that makes sense. Well, that doesn't make sense.
Right.
Well, and then Rachel's supposed to take on the name PT.
Yeah.
Like,
I think that's what I think.
Take on the name hashtag
I think
stupid
she's
Rachel.
gonna be. I think she's gonna be PT with more. Can I just mention one thing? I can't help but think that if MK was still alive, she would be right there with the boys. And it made me kind of miss her.
Oh yeah, every time you see them.
She's a hacker. I think they should have killed Hell Wizard and kept MK, but
Wow.
I think it was too much for Tatiana.
Poor Hell Wizard. No love.
I'm sorry, I like her. I like him, but MK was the hacker.
Truth.
Although I kind of figured she was gonna die at some point.
Well,
So
she was sick too.
Yeah, but watching Mrs. S with the boys and all, trying to figure out all this, I thought, they would really benefit from having a hacker around. MK. But she died. Stupid Ferdinand.
I know. That guy is a menace. I hope he meets an end. Kassim and Delphine are looking at Aisha's genome, and I'm not even going to pretend to, pretend that I understand what they're talking about. But
I know, right?
Kasima gives Delphine the tooth and tells her about the man in the woods. Mud is out with the man hunting. I don't know if they ever said his name, so I'm just calling him Man with Gun. I don't remember, and I watched it again, and I don't remember ever hearing his name. And I had subtitles on for some of it because I couldn't understand what Mud was saying a couple times, so I just put the subtitles on, or the closed caption, and I didn't see his name. So I'm just gonna call him Man Hunting, or Man with Gun. So she's out with him, and she reminds him that he's to take this subject alive, and he doesn't care. He found out his wife was sick, I guess, and he came here and to help, like, to get her better. And, now he's out doing this, and I think he doesn't like it, and he's kind of resentful for it. And he's just like, I am going to do everything I can to protect her because that's why I'm here, and I don't care about your friend. And it's still, the way that she's talking about it, it's like she knows him, so the subject anyway, or Beast Boy. We just still don't know how. Okay, Cosima is showing Delphine that they are changing some sort of gene in the in Aisha and Beast, and I believe they called it Lin 28A.
Yeah.
Delphine tells Cosima to stop, that she's pushing too hard, and that she's jeopardizing what Delphine is doing. And Cosima's like, well, yeah, what is that? And Delphine's like, I can't share all this. But she tells her that Rachel has access to Kira, so they need to tread lightly. And then Old Man Winter comes in because he always interrupts everything.
Always.
To tell Delphine that she has to go to dinner, and Cosima's like, well, I'm going, and he says she's not invited, so she says, well, tell PT, Lin 28A, I found his fountain. And Old Man Winter gives her this look.
And Delphine just told her to chill.
Didn't he? Like,
no.
2 seconds ago. She's like,
Okay, but Delphine is not being really open and honest with everything. So, all that Cosima knows is you're going up there and you're not telling me everything. So screw
That's
you. I
true.
need to know what's going on.
Is this
Which
trust?
I understand. I understand that too, because she wants answers, and I get that, but trust her. Yes.
Yeah, that's
I mean, a little bit of trust. I mean,
It's
she's
gotta...
telling her that she's doing things on the outside, and, and she just told her, basically, you're going to put Kira in danger, so chill. And nope. She just
Not even
basically
2
said,
seconds
nope.
later.
She's like Sarah. That's why you can't tell them things, because they just do whatever they want.
I don't know.
Anyway.
You're right. They just do what they want. I mean, like, I just need to look at her like, we just had this conversation. Like,
Yeah.
I can't imagine Delphine's face. But they didn't show it. But I would have just been like, this woman just didn't. Okay. Old Man Winter takes them to a room full of dresses and tuxes and says, pick. And Cosima is like, I don't want to do this on principle. And I don't blame her. I'm like, I
What's
don't
with
wanna-
the creepy old lace dresses
I'm like,
and stuff?
stop. Just stop. You were born in, like, 1950 or something. Like, don't even. Like, I totally wouldn't want to do it. And I completely understand that. And Delphine says that they will, just to get him to go. And she tells Cosima that they need to play along for Kira's sake.
Yes.
They can get more information if they play along. So Cosima puts on tux, and Delphine puts on, like, one of those hideous dresses, and they show up, and Old Man Winter does not find it appropriate, but Cosima does, so that's all that matters. And
Which, can I say, it's weird that, because nobody else is wearing that type of attire, except for P.T. Westmore, he's wearing a tux, the same as Cosima. But I thought, okay, well, they're dressing like that, and I thought Rachel and Susan were also going to be dressed in those lacy dresses, but it was just Delphine. I don't get that.
No,
What was the point?
Susan was wearing like a white kind of or cream color.
It seemed more modern, didn't it? Or no?
it seems like everything
yeah,
that she
slightly more.
wears is like...
I mean, I'm sure these dresses were all the rage back then, but come on. I mean, I don't know. I didn't really like that. Or pick a better dress. Or maybe it's just not my style.
I didn't like that dress either because it was like too old and but like
yeah.
PT was in a tux, and for a second I was like, well, Ira's there and he's in jeans, but I guess he leaves.
Yeah, but it was weird to me how it was only Delphine who had to wear that dress. And even Rachel, I thought, okay, well, maybe Rachel is going to be dressed in something, was it Victorian or whatever? And no, she wasn't. So I was like, well, what was the point was it just to get Cosima in the tux, or
I feel like
I think it was about control.
Yeah, it was about that, but I also like we don't even know. She just got back into town, right? So does she have an evening gown? He obviously wanted them to be dressed up, and does she even have that there? Because we know Cosima doesn't, right?
She's gorgeous. Give her something better.
Well, that's true, but like I felt like he was saying you were going to dress up for this dinner, and I think that they didn't have anything, so they were like, you're going to wear one of these then. Which, why does he have all that? It's just kind of creepy. Like, that's just creepy. I don't even.
Okay, I'll take that. I'll take that explanation. Sounds reasonable.
But it is about control because he's like, you're going to dress like this for this day. You're not showing up to my table with jeans on. So, because she had jeans on. Because Ira like moves Susan along and then tells Cosima that her people wish her well. This is after Delphine goes to talk to P.T. Moreland. So they separate, and Cosima goes into where the dinner is, and says hi to Susan and Ira. And P.T. comes in escorting Delphine.
Yeah, which was weird.
I know. And says Rachel would be coming along shortly. P.T. tells Susan that they're on to Lynn 28A, and Susan's like, okay, that's why you're here. And P.T. says, well, you wanted a seat at a table, and he like points, so it's like you can see that he's starting to get angry.
Yeah, that was so weird how he just points to the like she's, I don't know, like she's a slave or a servant or something.
Mm-hmm. Or a dog.
He has no manners. Come on.
Yeah.
He's
I think he's angry at her
for her poking around.
Mm-hmm.
She doesn't necessarily know that she wants a seat at the table anymore. But she ends up sitting down at the seat anyway. Back to the woods, and this is a very short scene. They're doing a kind of montage again, but Mud and the man are still searching, and they get I think it was like on a walkie-talkie, somebody was saying something about a woodshed, so they're going to check it out.
Yeah. Guy kept pushing her, and that's not going to end well. Come on.
They switched right back to it was like a 2-second scene. I don't know why they did that, but then they switched right back to Cosima, who's like cracking me up about all the dead stuff in his place, because he does have a lot of dead stuff, and Delphine gives her this look oh my god, what are you doing? And I'm like, smiles.
All her expressions were funny when Cosima opened her mouth. It was hilarious.
I know.
She was just like, oh my god.
I feel like that's weird, and I don't want to insult anybody who does taxidermy stuff, but if I walked into a dining hall that had a bunch of stuffed dead creatures everywhere, I'd kind of, I don't know, maybe lose my appetite. It's not inviting for a dinner hall to me anyway. PT asks Cosima about Cosima's parents. And see, the thing is, I remember, I think in the very first season, her mentioning her parents being, I thought she said teachers. She says here professors. But that, we've never really heard anything about her parents.
I don't even remember her mentioning that they were teachers.
I feel like I remember her saying something like that, because I remember thinking, okay, that's where you get this from, this, you want to learn this stuff in biology and blah blah blah. But she mentions that they're on a houseboat, so they don't talk that much, and they don't even know she's sick, because if they knew she's sick, then she would have to tell them that she was a clone, and she'd bring them into this lie, she'd bring them into this world, and they know everything is a lie, and she didn't want to do that to them because they love her and each other very much. And PT says something I don't remember what he said exactly. It was a balance, but I felt the way he said it, I was like, are you provoking her? Because it sounds like you're. It doesn't sound like you're sincere.
He said.
See, I felt like that was a threat.
Yeah, he said, what a delicate balance you have.
Right.
The clinical and the humane.
Yeah. Thank you. Wow. You got that line perfectly. Thank you.
Yeah.
But yeah, didn't he just didn't it sound hostile to you?
Yes.
Just the fact that he brought up her parents to me was like, oh, wait a minute. To me, it was showing her, I like you said earlier about control. That's what I took it. That's how I took it when just the fact that he mentioned her parents.
Yeah, I did. I took it in two ways, like a threat and also a reminder that we did this, right? We know who your parents are because we put you there.
And we own you. Everything. You know, it's like, it was weird.
He's not just passive aggressive. He is aggressive for an old man.
And I have a question. Casima's parents, they said Sally and Jean. Is that two women or is Jean a guy?
I think it's a guy. It
wouldn't surprise me, but
I think she mentioned I think she mentioned a dad. So.
Oh, okay.
But I could be wrong, but I thought it was a guy.
And it was also so interesting to me how she's worried about coming out to her parents as a clone, which was kind of weird. I was just like, oh, that's interesting. Like every other part of her, like she doesn't matter. Her sexuality doesn't matter, but she's worried about coming out to them as a clone. Wow.
I think the implications though with that though too are like because it affects them, they're gonna realize that they were had.
Oh yeah.
And taken advantage of, and I think that she doesn't want them to realize that. Which I don't know why, because I'd be telling everybody, but I'd probably
everybody involved.
I'd get everybody killed.
But yeah, everybody involved has the potential of being killed because of it. So it's just better for them not to know. But are they still paying her tuition?
Yeah.
I didn't think about that.
Dyads better be taking care of that. Like there's somebody sitting in there going by the name Cosima. I don't know.
It was sad though, the story, and Cosima got a bit choked up, and then Delphine looking at her kind of sad. It was moving.
It was
moving until PT, he ruined it with his smug face.
Aggressiveness.
Yeah.
And then Rachel makes an entrance because she always has to have an entrance, right? She couldn't just walk in. She had to stand up there on this balcony. And it's all like, hello, Cosima. And we're like, shut up, Rachel. I am here. I will be right down. I'm like, why didn't you just walk in the room, you stupid woman? I don't know. I can't stand it. So obnoxious. There was no reason for her to do that.
No.
And why is it open
though.
like that? Who has a dining room that has just like this little open balcony overseeing all of it? It's so weird.
I don't know.
It's made
when Cosima first went into when they opened the doors and they showed the dining room, I thought, ooh, Downton Abbey. That's what I thought.
It's funny.
With the Swan Lake music, by the way. That was interesting.
Nice catch.
Yeah.
Well, okay, so she makes her stupid little entrance, and then we go back to Sarah and Kira, and they're bonding, and we're like, oh, bonding moment.
Yeah.
They're talking about, like,
cute.
code names for, like, the different clones, and then Mrs. S comes home, and Kira says, I want to be a hustler, and I'm like, oh, my God.
And I was like, yeah, Kira, goals.
Yeah, and she says she has to find... And this is what Kira, like, freaks you, because Kira goes from, like, a kid to an adult in a second, where she's like, I want to be a hustler, and Mrs. S, like, why are you teaching her these things? And then Kira says, you have to find out what someone wants, and then give it to them without them without them realizing it to gain their trust. And I'm like, I am so much older than 7. And I wouldn't have even said that. Like, it just wouldn't occur to me, and I'm like, I'm trying to think about what I was doing when I was 7. Like, I think I forgot how to tie my shoes for a second and then learned again. I don't know. That was just really deep for a child to say.
Yeah.
So Mrs. S is like, what does Rachel want? And, like, Kira looks down again, and I'm like, does Kira know what they're going to do with her? I mean, we don't know what they're going to do with her yet, but I feel like, unless she was trying to channel Rachel right then, but, I feel like Kira might know more than we think.
And
I don't think Kira knows this, though.
I hope not.
No, I don't think so either. She knows something, but I don't think she knows
Or maybe she just
specifically
knows
that they're
she
going to
wants-
try to
Yeah.
take her eggs.
I think Kira knows that she wants something from her, but she doesn't know what. Like, she wants something from her, but that's just kind of... Anyway.
Yeah. Does these code names for the clones, does that mean something?
I don't know. I mean, Rachel is an elephant. Like...
And you know what about that? She said
Elephant in the
Rachel
room.
was the elephant, and then I think Kira was wearing a sweater with an elephant on it.
What?
Does that mean, like, property of Rachel or something?
I figured she meant the elephant in the room, you know, the thing that you don't want to talk about, but you know at some point you have to.
What was
Yeah,
Helena?
that makes sense.
The shark, wasn't she?
Yeah, shark. Something shark. But it was just funny. I think she was wearing a sweater, and I remember her holding up the elephant saying, Rachel's the elephant, and I think on her sweater there was an elephant. So I was like, huh, what does that mean?
Good for Sarah, like, to hold back the desire to take that elephant and just start smacking it on the ground repeatedly.
Yeah.
That's what I would have wanted to do. That's what I was thinking about when she, like, showed us everybody that it was an elephant. I was like, just take it and just start throwing it around the room.
Yep.
Kasima, like, is sitting at the table and she's like, you've isolated this gene in Kira, haven't you? And you've also manipulated Aisha's cancer. You haven't cured it. And Rachel tells her to mind her tongue, but PT's like, I'd like to hear what she thinks, and so does Susan, because they're like...
And Delphine's like, oh my god.
I know. And then PT throws Delphine under the bus and was like, Delphine tells us you saw my room, and, like, the look... That look that she gave Delphine was like, you...
Yes.
And this is why I was starting to doubt everything again.
They did that on
No,
purpose.
but then later she tells her why she did it, so all was well.
I know, but they're sending you through this emotional roller coaster on purpose. You're supposed to doubt at this moment. You're supposed to go back and forth and then grab your head and be like, what's real? Like that. So...
But I never doubt, though. I never doubt those two, so.
There's a log pause, and then a ding, and they say, helicopter has arrived for Delphine to go to Geneva, and PT says, leave while you still can. I'm like, this fool right here.
I know. I was like, huh? What?
Like, that's...
I was like, go, Delphine, go!
Like, he's dying.
But she's got to think, okay, he's letting me go and saying that means Casima's probably screwed.
I don't think Delphine thinks she's screwed, because Delphine wouldn't leave if she thought she was screwed.
I don't think so either. Yeah.
And it's so weird. There's so much hostility there, because she gets up and Casima's like, wait, what? Blah, blah, like, where are you going? And then PT yells at them, like, kind of says, well, go see her out if you wish. But he yells it, like, kind of like forcefully. I'm like, that is freaky. And then Rachel gives him a kiss on the cheek, and I'm like, wah!
And I think we all were Cosima when the Delphine's leaving. We're like, what? Seriously? Again?
Yeah, no.
Oh, come on.
To Geneva, nonetheless. And this time, I'm pretty sure she's really going. At this point, I hate everybody and everything.
Yeah.
I hate everybody in this room, and just...
I hate everybody
irritated.
except Delphine.
Well, I'm mad at Delphine, but I understand, but I'm still mad. And I'm disgusted with Rachel and PT. I'm like, that is not your father. Like, I don't know. And I don't like PT at all, because we haven't really seen this, like, he said stuff, but he's been calm. Like, we see anger now, and I'm not liking it.
Yeah.
But Delphine goes and to, like, change, and she tells Cosima that Felix and Adele are in Geneva, and she's got to go to help them, but she can't share info on what they're doing. And Cosima, like, gets frustrated and mad and flash back to this, like, I'm intellectual property memory that they had, and Delphine's like, you need to remember this. Remember when this happened. And she reminds her of the promise that she made her, that she would do everything to protect her. And it's like weird. She gives her like this it's like it took me a second to realize that she was giving her this ultimatum, like our relationship is like this, but you can accept it or you can end it, because it has to be like this for right now.
I think, well, what else can she do?
Yeah, no, I know. It just took me like I heard the words and then I was like, la la la. Wait a minute.
Yeah.
I'm like, she just basically said you can break up with me right now, or.
But I think she was just talking about like their relationship, because I truly believe that even if Cosima were to end her relationship with Delphine there, Delphine would still do everything possible to help her and her sisters. So it was just about, look, as far as our relationship being, this is the way it has to be because this is where we are. Accept it or not.
I believe that too, but I also believe that there are thousands upon hundreds of thousands of fans that went at the same time.
Yeah, I saw it on Twitter. They were like, see, no, how could she do this? How could she give Cosima an ultimatum? I'm like, well, what else is she going to do? I mean, I get it. It sounds horrible. It sounds horrible, but yeah, they were like, some people were like, see, no, this is not right, and it's about consent. Oh, man. I trust Delphine.
Live tweeting would have been fun. It would have been fun. I completely missed it. I was like, oh, and then I was watching this, I was like, man, I bet Twitter blew up. I mean, I was at the movies, but I saw, like, I had 50-something notifications, and I'm like, oh, I can't look at any of them.
I looked for you. I was like, where is she? She's not here.
I should have tagged everybody. I just made a general tweet that I forgot that I had Spider-Man tickets, and I was like, and it was an hour away too, and I was thinking about like canceling it. They would have gotten so mad at me. Because I was like driving about an hour away to meet up with people, so that was. Oh. And my sister, who was at my house waiting for me to take her there, so I would have just been like a jerk. And like, but I have to watch Black Live. But like, she did. She gave her this ultimatum, and of course, Cosima picks to accept it. Thus, like, the internet would have imploded. And
I would have too. I mean, there's nothing else she could do. I mean, I would have too. I would have said, okay, fine. I mean, what else is she gonna do?
Do you think it would have been safer for her to believe that they were broken up, though?
Well, she does mention that, right? Because Cosima says this is what he does. He divides women, which is like a pun because he does literally.
Literally, yes,
and then,
he does.
And he does like kind of like figuratively as well. So she goes, you need to go and pretend that he has divided us. And so she could take that as go and pretend that we are not together anymore.
Yeah, and she gives her a smile. And so basically, yeah, I'm going to do that. That's kind of she agreed.
Yeah, she does. And so we're back to the woods again, guys. And the man with the gun just, like, he's making Mud go first. And I'm like, dude, like, you're the one with the gun. And you're making her go first, you, like, wimp. I was so mad. And then we find out, because he's attacked, and I had the closed caption on, that man in the woods' name is Giannis. And he kills the guy with a gun and with an axe, and then kind of chokes Mud. But he realizes it's her, okay, because she's like, Giannis. I keep saying, why do I put an R in there? Giannis, it's me, and he like lets her go. And
he choked Mud? I don't remember that part.
Yeah,
he had her up there for a good minute.
Huh.
And the gun did go off, so for a second I was like, did he just get shot? Because he didn't like, the gun went off, and I thought he got shot, but he didn't even like miss a step. He was like, hack, got you, Mud, and then he like runs off. We do find out later that he did get shot because the gun did go off. But I guess like adrenaline maybe. You don't, like, feel it right away. You're like, no, I'm just going to hack up this guy. I'd be on the ground. Even if it was, like, a graze, and it's just like a graze, I'd still be on the ground crying.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Blood! Ah!
I know. And then people come to find the dead guy and Mud, who, like, is in shock. Like, she's like, this is a little girl. She's not going to be able to take much more of this. She's like, I mean, kids are resilient, but she's going through some trauma right now.
Yeah.
So she's just like kind of in shock. And then we're back to PT, who starts talking about Yanis, and how he was found in a Latvia orphanage, but he showed the same Lion 28A healing ability like gene that Kira does, and so he was the first. He was the first subject for that, and testing that gene. And Susan would like to say, oh, and he does mention that that Giannis is his biggest regret. And then Susan would like to mention that she didn't do the testing, but she did synthesize the gene, which she put into the Lena clones to see if it would pass along the ability to heal, which it didn't. Instead, it went to the second generation that wasn't even expected, because remember, they were made to not be able to reproduce. But it got passed down to the second generation. And then a guy just storms in and says, he's in the village, and Susan has a hissy fit and says, PT, blah, blah, blah.
That's exactly what she said, Kim. You were spot on there.
Yes. And then Susan's put into a room with Ira and Cosima and told to stay in there and lock the door, and Ira's like, that thing is in the house? And
I didn't get to close the curtains. Is he going to be attracted to the light? I mean, what is with
No, like maybe if he sees through the window, he sees them in
or if
the
he
room
sees
or
Susan,
something.
maybe?
Yeah,
maybe
if he
Susan.
sees it probably, or if he sees through the glass, because it was all glass, he could just come barreling through there.
Yeah.
And Cosima says the chickens are coming to roost, which I thought was that was a great analogy. And Susan's like, it's not my chickens. And Seema wants to know the plans for Kira. Susan's like, you can't figure it out now? I mean, you just said it was passed on to the second generation, so they want to harvest her eggs. This is a child we're talking about. Why would you do such an invasive procedure to a child? But they don't care, because look at Giannis.
I was
stop saying
so
Giannis.
ticked with that whole scene, because it's like, you're going to take Kira's eggs. What is wrong with you people? You all deserve to be shot.
That's basically what Cosima was saying.
So I'm like, hashtag stupid Rachel. I will fight someone.
And she was telling Susan, you're a woman. How could you do this?
I think Ira was even looking at her a bit aback.
Yeah.
What?
Well, he because anybody with a heart would just be like, this is ridiculous.
Yeah. But Susan, I think Susan did say, I think it was a previous episode, she said that she shared PT's vision, but not his methods
not
or
the means.
his means. But then, is she okay with this, I guess? She doesn't see anything wrong with taking Kira's eggs? I don't know, where does she draw the line?
Well, there's something that she mentions after this that makes me think she does care, but real quick, Giannis broke into a window, broke in by breaking a window and coming in, and PT knows where he is, where he's going, and says he doesn't need a gun, he can take care of it, but he takes one just in case. Then we go back to Cosima, who is on about these 300, these 1,300 of Kira's eggs that they want to take and put into others. And Cosima mentions, these are Kira's children. You're talking about 1,300 of her children and Sarah's grandchildren. And, you have to stop this. And Susan mentions that she can only steer him. She's just trying to minimize the damage. So, and you can tell in her face, I think she has a problem with it.
She's conflicted, yeah.
But she doesn't know how to stop it, and she's just trying to make it not as bad as possible, because she's definitely upset about Giannis, right? She didn't want anything like that to happen. She doesn't want them testing on Kira. But I think she has a problem with it, because her eyes got kind of teary and stuff.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking that was so disgusting that they would even do this. You're going to take this child and basically rob her of any future she has.
Yeah. Well, look what they did to Giannis.
They don't care.
That is I was thinking about that. I was like, that poor kid has never known anything but suffering.
No. And he was an orphan, right?
Yeah.
They said a Latvian orphan.
Yeah.
And it just I remembered there's all these stories, in different countries about these doctors or scientists going in and experimenting on all these orphans or people in jail because they have no say. And I remember that's how they found Kendall, right? In jail.
Yeah.
Didn't they? Yeah, it's just interesting to me how they take advantage because no one's going to stand up for an orphan kid or a woman in jail. They don't care. They're sort of bottom of the food chain. It's just how people take advantage. That's so sad.
Yeah, and I don't think, they're talking about, so they're talking about 1,300. I feel like they're like, because women are born roughly with about 2 million eggs. And they lose, I think it's something ridiculous, like 11,000 every month for prior to puberty. Like, just from, like, dividing and stuff. So I think they look at it like, she's going to be able to have kids later. We're only taking, like, 1,300. But it's an invasive procedure.
Yeah.
And it's basically, you're taking, I don't know. It's more.
You're doing this to a child.
You're doing it to a child, and you're making her a mother, and you're making her a mother 1,300 times. And yes, some of them could be twins, because that does run in her family. In which case, like, if they're identical twins, you'd have, like, your natural clones, which is like, okay, my head's gonna explode.
And there's no one that could say no because she's their property. That sucks.
Well, Kira's not anything that they find, but taking something from her body isn't something that they found.
Yeah, that's something that was there that she was born with. So I feel like I don't know. It's wrong.
You're right.
Sarah would have a problem with it, and they know it's wrong, and they know it goes against what they said they were going to do, but they're going to do it anyway because it's
Rachel don't care.
Rachel's stupid little. I can't stand her. Anyway, Cosima goes to stop him. She's like, I'm going to stop him myself then, and then Ira says the roof is red, and he's like, Cosima's like, what? Are you glitching? And he just like looks at her and then closes the door. I'm like, uh-oh. And that's why.
I also said when Cosima said I'm gonna stop it myself. I was like, this is not gonna end well.
She keeps
something's
doing
gonna
that.
happen. Yep. I was like, something's gonna happen. Delphine tells her to chill. She doesn't want to listen. I get it. She's frustrated, but
you need to start telling her like the opposite of what you want to occur. Because she's just going to do the opposite. She sees Mud like come in, and Cosima talks to her and says, hey, what's going on? And she says, PT knows that she let Giannis out. She tells Cosima his name. And Cosima wants to go talk to him, and Mud says, no, don't go down there. PT isn't well. That's why all of this is happening. And then they start to hear music playing downstairs, and Mud leaves and says, you know what? Don't go down there. So, of course, Cosima goes down there.
Yep.
Every horror movie ever. I think we said that. I said that last week, too.
Yep.
Don't go in the basement. Okay. Walking down the stairs. Yeah.
I'm just
in
like,
her suit.
For God's sake. I'm like, can you just let yourself heal for like 5 minutes, please, before you go putting your life in danger? Just please, Cosima, just get better first.
Yep.
Because she's still like coughing.
I know.
And I've noticed like her lips, like her lips always look like they're dried out and like she's like sick, versus like the other clones that she plays. So they still make her look sick. I'm waiting for that to change, so I know that she's okay.
Well, the whole coughing thing, I think, is what got everybody freaked out too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, so she goes down there and tells PT that she knows what's going on and that she knows he's dying, and Giannis apparently only wanted to come home, which was sad in itself. And he's hurt. And Cosima says, Giannis is your legacy, and you aren't 170 years old. That's just smoke and mirrors, isn't it? And I'm like, what do you know? Spit it out right now. I want to know. PT puts a gun in Cosima's hand and says, you want to do the ethical thing? Then do it. And points it at Giannis. And she thinks about it for a second, and she's like, you're not going to take my humanity, and puts the gun down. She should have kept it if I were her. And she goes to try to talk to Giannis.
That's what I thought. I was like, turn around and point it at the old man.
I thought about this too.
yes.
Just shoot him. Just shoot him. But she puts the gun down and then goes to try to talk to Yanis, like apologizes. And it was so sad because like they showed his face while she was looking at him with the gun and he was crying. And I was like, this is so heartbreaking. And then PT points the gun and you're like, who are you about to shoot? And he ends up shooting Yanis in the head.
I wasn't sure for a second. I was like,
me either.
Yeah, I totally thought he was going to shoot. Well, first they wanted her to shoot him, and I'm like, do it. And then when he took the gun, I thought Cosima was a goner.
Yeah, I didn't think she was going to die, but I thought he might hurt her.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. It was sad. Like, that was traumatizing for Cosima, and poor Yanis. Like, he just never had...
poor child.
A life. Like, he just knew only pain, and that's just sad to me.
Yeah.
Mrs. S, Sarah, and Kira are asleep, and they're like, oh, they're cute. And then we hear, like, this door open and close. I'm like, did you not lock your door? And Mrs. S, like, gets up and grabs a shotgun and goes down to the place, and it's Delphine, who is at her table, and she tells...
Of course it is.
who has a key, apparently. And she tells S that the gene is that they have, Kira has, and they're after it, and gives her a hard drive and says, everything I know is on here. But I have a plane to catch to meet Felix and Adele in Geneva soon. Remember, Delphine left before she found out about the eggs, so I don't think that they're going to know all that. But she mentioned, she's like, the person that gave you Cody, can that person be counted on? And Mrs. S says, I don't know that we should have counted on them to begin with. And Delphine goes, well, whatever they're going to do with Kira, they're going to do soon. Now, I thought Delphine gave her the intel on Cody.
I know, now they're leaving it like we have no idea who it might be.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure how that...
I know, I was like, what? Like, I thought I knew everything, but I don't. You reminded me again that I do not.
Maybe she gave her a tip on that, but then someone actually helped Mrs. S get in touch with...
Who could it possibly be?
The husband. I don't know.
You guys...
Don't you think it's got to be Cal at this point?
Oh, Cal. Forgot about him.
He's in Westeros.
It could be. Well, not anymore, right? I don't think he's there anymore. He didn't go with Daenerys.
Yeah.
He's stayed behind somewhere. Sorry about that.
No, it's okay. We do that all the time. We start talking about Games of Thrones. It never. In fact, we might do it like every podcast. But yeah, I that's one mystery that we still need solved, and I hope they kind of touch on that. Maybe they will when she goes back to get the help, because they're gonna move on Kira soon. In the very last scene, we see Cosima locked in a cage, and I'm like, Cosima.
See, I knew something was gonna happen.
Crazy PT.
Locked in a cage. Crazy. And then that creepy music that played in the end. With the kids singing?
I know. Look, if she just kept the gun, none of that would happen, because she could outrun him. Like, she could have kicked him in the shin and, like, ran, because he wouldn't do it.
She'd have shot him in the leg.
She could have throat punched him. It would have been done.
He's so old, she doesn't even need to do that. Like, literally, she could have stepped on his foot and kicked him in the shin. And he would have just, like, fallen over. But he had a gun, so... That's...
But Cosima, that's not in Cosima's nature, though. She probably has never even handled a gun.
Yeah, but if she had it, then he wouldn't have had it. Like, she didn't have to point it at him. She just had to, like I said, kick him in the chin and run. Like, you can't stop me because you don't have a gun, and run off.
Lock him up in the basement, probably.
Yeah, that's true. And unfortunately, my DVR, like, literally cuts off at like an hour, so I didn't see previews I saw a little bit of previews for next week, but not all. I saw enough to know Mud was, like, mad, and I hope, like, Cosima doesn't get the blame for Giannis. I wasn't sure if that was going to happen, because they're locking her in that same cage.
Yeah.
We'll find out.
I don't know. This is crazy. I don't know how they're going to wrap everything up in 5 more episodes.
Well, we have gotten a lot of information in 5 episodes. I'll give them that, and I didn't think that we were going to.
That's true.
Because that whole like episode of like Allison like really didn't tell us anything new, and I was like, how can you afford to do this episode right now? But like, when I look back at everything so far, they have told us a lot.
So, do you think we'll see Delphine anytime soon, or is this like 28 seconds of every episode?
I don't know. Well, she will be back when like Felix is back, right? So
that's interesting that they're working together because I know he doesn't like her. So I want to see that actually.
I don't know if he dislikes her. I don't think he trusts her for the same reasons that we've been given. Like, I think it goes back and forth.
Yeah, or it just seems like he doesn't like her.
He seemed
very much
okay. Like, when he thought Delphine... I don't know, when he thought Delphine was dead and then he was finding out information that she might not be, he seemed a bit more relieved. And I know that, like, because it mattered to Cosima, but I don't think that he dislikes her. I think it's kind of like Sarah. Like, they both kind of side-eye her. Yeah, she was a monitor, plain and simple, to begin with.
I'm glad did you see Mrs. S when she saw Delphine, when she turned on the light?
Mm-hmm.
She was happy to see her, and I'm glad. I'm like, oh, that's nice. It's nice that somebody's happy to see Delphine. Well, maybe besides Cosima.
Yeah. I
like that.
It was a good episode.
I think it was, not just because of Delphine, but I think it was in the editing. I really liked. I mean, especially because of Delphine.
You're so funny.
I don't know. Like, I like all the clones, and
except for
Tatiana's fantastic, but I'm a huge fan of Delphine. I think she's an awesome character. It's just too bad that Evelyn had another show, which is another great show, X Company. You guys should watch it if you haven't. And so her schedule interfered, and it's too bad, but they could have done so much more with her character.
I can't watch X Company because I blame it for everything.
It is awesome. And her character is just amazing. Aurora, she's great. But overall this was a fantastic episode. I really liked the editing and the directing. And can I just say, I really love that. I mentioned that they played the Swan Lake music when Cosima went into the dinner with everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
And I wonder. I mean, I'm sure they did it on purpose, but one thing. Remember, Rachel always saw Swan when she got her new Lucian eye.
Yeah.
She was always seeing a swan. So, I don't know, that seems to be a connection. And also, if you know a little bit of the story of the Swan Lake, there's a princess named Odette who's transformed into a swan. And if I remember correctly, she can only be human at night. And then she was forced to live by a lake. And to me, that's like maybe Cosima being forced to live at Revival. And then I think it was she falls in love with Prince Siegfried or something like that. And the only way that they could break the spell of her being a swan is through the power of love, the love that she has for the prince. But somehow the prince is tricked into not being loyal to her, and so she in turn stays as a swan forever. And the only option that she feels she has is that she kills herself, but the prince actually chooses to die with her. And so I'm thinking, Cosima is trapped. So I'm thinking, is she like supposed to be the Odette in all of this?
Whoa.
And so Delphine is sort of the prince, and they choose to die together. I don't know. I was just thinking too much into it.
Got deep right there.
But it's Swan Lake. I don't know.
I didn't even know that's what Swan Lake was about.
Yeah. And then there's also a character called Odile, something like that. and it's the daughter of the king, I believe, and she's willing to follow in her father's evil footsteps. And I'm thinking, that's Rachel.
I don't think anything is done lightly, so there's probably some.
I don't know.
There's a reason why that they played that, and you could be like on point, especially with PT and Rachel, but or the whole thing. But I have no idea because I've never seen Swan Lake.
Yeah.
I've never even.
It was just something that came to mind. I recognized the music. I was like, Swan Lake, Tchaikovsky. And then I was like, oh, the swan. So anyway, I just,
That was deep. That's a good theory.
We're gonna. I mean, I'm probably completely off base, and it has nothing to do with that. But
we will
it's
see.
Just a thought. Yeah.
We'll definitely see.
We'll see.
And then you can be like, I was right if you were right. So.
But I don't want Cosima and Delphine to die, so I hope I'm not right. That part.
All right. Well, guys, I am, like I said, going to be traveling the next 2 weeks, so probably won't get the podcast up until Tuesday. So just look out for that. It might be a day delayed, but I want to thank you for coming on, Edith, because you had a lot of good information, a lot of good theories, and I really appreciate it. You taking the time out to do this with us.
Oh, thank you for inviting me. Or like I said earlier, I invited myself, and you said yes, so thank you. And there's other people that are like, how can I get on the podcast? I'm like, hey, I asked. You should ask too. I don't know.
Yeah.
But thank you very much.
I don't know if you want people to follow you on Twitter or anything like that, but if you do, you can tell them your Twitter handle right now. If not, what you live tweet for maybe Orphan Black. It's entirely up to you.
Sure. On Twitter, Bocelli, which is BO_XE_LY. That's me on Twitter. Sure, follow me if you want.
Nice. Sean, you want to tell everybody where to find you on the interweb?
You can find everything over at www.fangirlzone.com because we have a contacts page, so it's just easier that way. It takes you right to it. But if you're looking for us while you're tweeting, we are FGZ Podcast.
And I will start watching Handmaid's Tale and listening to it.
All right.
It's fun.
Thank you very much, Days. I appreciate it. Thanks.
Oh, no problem.
Thanks for coming.
I like to tweet this podcast at TNE_324B21 pod. I think oh my god. I just had a blank podcast pod. One of those. And you can find all of our Twitters at the Nerd Element. So check that out. And www.thenerdelement. Again, thank you for coming on. And
thank you. It was fun.
All right. So we will be back next week with an all new episode, guys. Thank you so much. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Brought to you by The Nerd Element.